everybody. Um, Decided to do a kind of a live. All I'm doing is pretty much editing on the Varangain Guard Book 1, Howls of Battle. I just figure I'd hop on here if anybody's interested to watch me as I do some editing. So let's jump in it. I'm on chapter 7. The walls are all around us, trying to get it done. But I figured this would be something fun to do. For some reason, can't post this video on my author's YouTube channel. Trying to get a hold of YouTube to figure out what's going on. If I can't get it fixed, I'm most likely going to probably move everything over to here because YouTube's being YouTube. But, I just basically just doing some editing and figured this would be fun. If you guys are interested, see what I do, and I'm writing and editing. Well, that's it. So, how's everybody doing today?
Follow your bliss, and the universe will open doors where there were only walls. By Joseph Campbell. Mundy studied the room. They would not be able to take it without a fight. He quietly closed the door and walked over to Standing Wolf. Go and guide Grimson in. We will start to take over this base and hopefully live long enough for the rest to come and help. Standing Wolf nodded and headed out. The others came in and stacked up behind Mundy. Mundy and his men stacked up on the door. He held 3 fingers up. He dropped one at a time. When the last finger fell, they busted through the door and laid waste to all in the room. The fight only lasted a few seconds, and all were dead. They could hear the Nazi soldiers coming up the stairwell. They lined up and tossed some fragmentation grenades down. A few seconds later, 3 loud crumps could be heard, and the screams of dying men followed after. They made their way down to the bottom of the ladder well. There was a large metal door blocking their way. They opened it up, and there before them was a large laboratory. The room was filled with all manner of creatures in tubes with some kind of green liquid. The first was an extinct animal that was called Auroch. There were also werewolves, vampires, sharkmen, draugrs, and ghouls, amongst other things unknown. Mundy had his men set explosives all over the laboratory. Mundy found a journal from one of the scientists on the table. He opened it up and read it. What he found in the writing shocked him. He closed it up and put it in his coat. He also gathered up anything that looked to be of interest. The sounds of soldiers coming caught his attention. He had them line up to fight off what was coming. As they were waiting for German troops to appear, they heard a growl. Mundy pulled out a fragmentation grenade filled with silver shards. He pulled the pin.
I love how it says grenade instead of grenade.
When a wolf shadow appeared, Mundy tossed the grenade down the passageway. Everyone covered their ears and waited for the detonation. 3 seconds later.
So just kind of give you an idea where I'm at on the editing on this one. In chapter 7, Mundy and the Varangain Guard have chased Brutzman to a hidden base under an island, and they're in the process of trying to take them out. So that's kind of where I'm at in this chapter here. It's a fun chapter. I've got part of chapter 14 written already. Right now, I just want to go through and edit all these chapters that I have done. So when I pick up back writing again, I can get back in the habit of editing each time I write a chapter. And that's kind of where I'm at on this one.
A loud crump was heard, and blood splattered the wall. They made their way down that passageway.
Hopefully you guys can hear this thing.
They found the remains of the werewolf that was coming for them. When they reached the end of the passageway, they came to a large room. They were horrified at what they had seen. There were human remains that were cut open as if they were performing an autopsy. There were many dismembered. Some looked like humans and something else mixed. In a corner to the far left was the head of what looked to be a giant human. When they gathered all that they thought looked like something of interest, they went through a door at the far end.
So something I like to do in my books from time to time is I'll add little little hidden things on what the future books may be. So if you're ever reading my book or listening to it, I like doing that stuff from time to time. And it's just something fun to do. But you guys got any questions while I'm editing this? So hopefully you guys can hear this as I'm editing. Feel free to drop me a message in here. I mean, it's just kind of a laid back, just a, hey, David. Yeah, I've got a nice little blur on. I don't know if it's because I'm wearing my Kelsey jersey and it's like lit me up like I'm heavenly or something. I don't know what's going on. I may have to clean the camera here in a little bit. But if you guys got questions about the book as I'm going through and editing it and making sure everything flows good, shoot me a message, man. I'll be glad to answer.
They carefully followed it and came to a dead end.
Like I said, this is kind of just a fun,
where did everyone go?
Fun thing to try to see what people think.
From what he knew, the only way out would have led them in an intersecting course with Mundy and his men. The room that they were in was filled with cells. It stunk and had filth all over the place. Mundy had his men set fires in each of the rooms as they headed back to the submarine docking bay. When they got back to the submarine dock, the submarine that was docked there was gone. Shit, how did those fuckers get past us? Mundy said angrily.
I still got that glow.
Running Buffalo set the timers on the explosives as they left. They started to climb the air vent out of the dock. An explosion went off above them. A large chunk of stone came falling down. Mundy barely got out of the way of the falling debris.
How you been today, David?
Falling, Mundy cleaned the dust off him, sound off. One by one, they all bounded off that they were alive and okay. Mundy studied the docking bay. He knew that they needed to find a way out of there.
That was weird.
When they had infiltrated the compound, he recalled that there was no other exit. We need to find a way out. At the same time, we have to be careful, being that we have exploded some of the rooms. I do not know for sure how much we have. He looked at them. I would say not long between the fires and no fresh air being forced in. They all nodded and went to work, trying to find another way out. After a couple of hours, they came up empty-handed.
I was actually wanting to do this on my author's YouTube channel, but for some reason I cannot link up the StreamYard with them because I accidentally created another channel by mistake. So I'm trying to get a hold of them. Hey, Melissa. Today I work 4/10s, so I'm off Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays unless there's a weather event that happens, and that's usually when I come in. So I've been out running around doing errands today, and I was like, you know what? I think it'd be fun just to do a laid back, chilling out. Hey, Ozzy. Just a live stream video of me editing my books and kind of what I go through when I'm editing and writing them. Like I said, I was wanting to put it on my author's channel, but for some reason, until I get a hold of YouTube, I don't know what's going to happen on. If I can't get it fixed, I'm probably going to have to transfer everything strictly over to this one. That's about the only thing I could think of. I've been fighting with YouTube trying to get a hold of somebody for over an hour, and I just got fed up with it. It was like, I'll just go live on here. So I'm live on my Facebook's authors page, and then live on this one here, even though this one's my research one, but that's okay. We'll make her work.
Mundy was upset that he had let this happen to them. Davidson was sitting there at a goofy smile on his face.
I've still got a few more chapters to go, but I want to make sure things sound good.
Why the hell are you smiling at a moment like this? Well, sir, it is simple. I am to be buried alive, not only am I with friends, but look at this place. It is far better than any coffin that we would be put in, Davidson said with a chuckle. Mundy shook his head. Davidson, you are messed up in the head. We would not be here for all time. Those Germans will come back and do God knows what with us.
Man, that is a bad word.
Sir, you are right. Does anyone have an ink stick? I need to leave something for those Nazis when they find us, Davidson asked around. Running Buffalo started to hand him his ink stick. What are you planning on doing? Davidson grinned. I am going to draw a bunch of stuff on my ass for the Nazis. Running Buffalo yanked his ink stick back. You are not drawing on your ass with mine. They all laughed, and Mundy
I
just
tried
shook
it
his
this
head.
morning there for you.
Enough playing around. We need to be serious. Mundy paused and looked at
Let me
Davidson.
try to wipe this lens off so it
Before
does
you
any
say
better.
anything. I know you are, but I am talking about at a grown-up level. Ouch, sir, that hurts.
Oh yeah, that's better.
I just wanted them bastards to know what I thought about them, Davidson said while shrugging. Mundy stared at him for a second, moving on. There has to be another way out besides drowning ourselves trying to swim our way out. Mundy thought about it for a...
So kind of a recap. So Mundy and the rest of the Varangain Guard and Grimson and some of the others have tracked Pretzman and the werewolves to a underground base that they ran to since Mundy and Grimson and them took out the wolf's lair. So Mundy and the Varangain Guard had came over. You're a a fortune teller there, Ozzy. You can tell us the future. So they found a air vent because they couldn't get access to that underground base that Pruntsman and the werewolves ran. Well, after attacking them and running them out, they're trying to escape, and Pruntsman had set off explosives, trapping them inside of this deal. And that's where we're at on this. So I'm just trying to make sure everything flows through nicely.
Moment. Search for a blueprint of this facility. With God's grace, we can find one. They all set out looking for it. The oxygen was starting to run out. Lightheadedness was affecting some of the men.
You got your coffee, and I got my
Mundy
homemade
knew
chicken
he would
salad.
have to figure something out soon, or they all would suffocate to death in there. He felt a slight breeze coming from behind the radio table. He motioned for Davidson to come over and help him move the table. It would not budge. Mundy cussed and slammed his fist down hard onto the table. A decorative fixture slid down. Behind it was a button. He pushed it, and the table began to move out away from the wall. On the other side was a tunnel. Mundy and Davidson followed it. They could feel fresh air filling their lungs. It was such an amazing feeling.
Crackhead cat.
After 5 minutes, it opened up into a small room with a ladder leading up. Davidson climbed it and opened the hatch at the top. A second later, Davidson was gone from sight. Davidson, what is it? There was no reply. Davidson, sound off now.
So this Varangain Guard Book 1, Howls of Battle, takes place. It's a prequel to the Masaga Grimsons. And this takes place during World War II over in Germany, where the Allied forces had called Grimson for help against these werewolves in Germany that Hitler and Himmler created. And that's what the basis of this book is about. So everything I'm writing in here takes place during that time frame, during World War II in Germany, with the werewolves of the German werewolves. Now, because if you remember, the stories are that you hear some of the Allied forces talking about they were actual werewolves that was hunting and killing them. You try to do research on it nowadays, and they say, oh, it's just a band of people. I mean, the German werewolves was an actual legitimate German unit, mainly guerrilla fight style. So the basis of this book was based off they were actually truly werewolves. And in the beginning of the book, I go over how everything started, how Himmler and them created them. So through right now at chapter 7 is where we're starting to engage them. And there's going to be more fights, more things that happen down the road. And that's kind of what this book is based off of, is the Allied stories of the German World War II werewolves.
His demands were met with silence again. Mundy started to worry and went to climb the ladder. Then Davidson appeared overhead. Sir, there is a large motor pool up here. Get the others. Mundy nodded and dropped back down to the floor. He quickly made his way down the tunnel and found the others. They were sitting on the ground. They all were to the point of passing out from lack of oxygen. Get up, you lazy fuckers. Davidson and I found something. Come on, get up. If you stay here, you will die. There is fresh air this way, come on. They all slowly got to their feet and stumbled their way to the radio room. Each step brought them fresher air. The further they went, the more air had filled their lungs. By the time they had reached the ladder, they all had about regained their senses. They each made their way up the ladder. Mundy was the last to make the climb. They popped out into a large room.
Give me 1 second, guys. I'll be right back. I just heard my animals knocking something over in the kitchen. Okay, sorry about that. Why are you not liking this one? I gotta. Yeah, it's David. It's actually really interesting. Oh, you're wanting a comma there. That's why. Yeah, that does fit. It's actually really interesting. I knew a lot more when I was younger. Trying to find info nowadays, it's a lot harder. A lot of stuff, the occult stuff that they were into, they like to keep it hush hushed. It seemed like. So trying to find it nowadays, it's hard. A lot of this I'm having to go off of memory of. I think the last time I looked it up, I was like 24. That was like 20 years ago. So it's an interesting deal. But the World War II German werewolves was a secret guerrilla force, basically, and they went in Allied occupied territories and just wreaked havoc on the Allied forces. They're pretty merciless. Now, it used to be you can find a lot of stories. Yes, Ozzy, you're right. You're absolutely right. They have been, and I'm finding that every time I do research on a book, I get aggravated because more and more stuff is being erased off of there and not kept. So now, when you do research on World War II German werewolves, all you're going to find is they were a human unit. They weren't real werewolves. That's what they want you to see. But there was a time when you could find a lot of Allied accounts of them actually being werewolves, being transformed, attacking them, and killing them, and nothing was able to stop them. And that's what this one here is based off of, is that.
Get up, you lazy fuckers. Davidson and I found something. Come on, get up. If you stay here, you will die.
So if you guys ain't familiar how underground bases are set up, it's hard to get fresh air in underground bases. So you usually have air vents built. And that's what Mundy and them had to use to get down into this thing. So whenever Prussman was caught onto them, finding out where he was, he blew the air vents and trapped him down in here, was trying to suffocate him down in this old submarine underground base. And so that's what we're dealing with. So you hear them, trying to get them up. Well, they're losing oxygen. When you lose oxygen, you start to faint. You start to pass out. Basically, you suffocate to death. So when Davison and Mundy had found escape that they couldn't figure out how all these Germans got away from them. It was like we had the only entrance blocked, and we didn't see them. Well, they found out how now. So Monday's trying to get everybody up there to get fresh air in them. Which, if anybody's ever been in a situation where you've got a lot of air taken away from you, basically you're suffocating. That fresh air is like being reborn. But because of the struggle you faced with doing that, you're exhausted. So that's where this is where we're at in that part of it. So I try to keep things when I write as realistic as possible. And so therefore, that's why I've got all this in here. Even how they talk. I mean, I'm sorry, I don't care what anybody thinks. Soldiers don't talk the prettiest. Us Marines are probably the worst about it next to the sailors. Probably even worse than sailors. Technically, we are in the Navy. We're just the men's department, but it is what it is. But anyways, so the language in my books, what I add in there and why I added in there is because that's what actually happens. So even my sci-fi books, even though I create alien races, I create names, I create planets, even in them, there's truth and accuracy into it, because like my planets, I put in there the NASA name for the planets. That way, if anybody's interested in looking up this planet that I'm writing about, they can go on to NASA, type in that name, and it'll show them a picture of the planet. I do that with all my writings, all my books. That's how I like to write. Okay, Ozzy.
There is fresh air this way. Come on. They all slowly got to their feet and stumbled their way to the radio room. Each step brought them fresher air. The further they went, the more air had filled their lungs. By the time they had reached the ladder, they all had about regained their senses. They each made their way up the ladder. Monday was the last to make the climb. They popped out into a large room filled with panzer tanks, Rolls-Royce cars, and motorcycles. They all grinned from ear to ear. If there are vehicles in here, then they must be a way out from here. Monday decided to let them all sleep and recover from the ordeal down below. So
we're getting ready to get to one of my favorite parts of this chapter. Davison, I had fun writing the Davison character. Davison he's a grunt. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. He's a flat, just plain old grunt. And that's why I wrote him the way he is. How Davison is pretty much how a grunt is. So here in a few minutes, we're going to get to a certain part in the book, and it's probably my favorite part of this chapter, and it's probably my favorite part of this chapter because of the shenanigans he does and what happens.
He and Davidson kept watch. Monday took the first 4 hours as Davidson slept. Then they would switch, and Monday would get some sleep while the others were sleeping. Davidson explored the area. He found a chow hall in the back. It was fully stocked with food. He smiled and found a Hershey's bar. He unwrapped it. He looked around, and then he began to eat it. The sweet, chocolatey taste filled his mouth. He devoured it quickly and looked for more good things to eat. He found eggs, loaves of bread, bacon, and sausage. He decided that...
So, if anybody knows anything about grunts, if we find something that is off the hook good, we're going to eat it. And we're going to make sure nobody else knows about it, because we don't want nobody having our hoard. And so this is that part I was talking about where it's getting into my favorite part of this chapter, because David's doing a typical grunt thing. Hey, I found a Hershey bar. Ain't nobody looking. I'm going to eat this thing. That's kind of what this is about. I mean, the rest part of this chapter goes on more about that.
When everyone woke up, he would fix them breakfast. He opened a freezer door, and his mouth dropped open. Inside the icebox was filled from top to bottom with ice cream. He looked out to where everyone was sleeping, satisfied that no one was awake. He grabbed a carton of chocolate ice cream and ate the whole thing. When he finished, he looked up, and Mundy was standing in the doorway with a pissed-off look on his face. "Morning, sir, I found the chow hall," Davidson said while grinning. Mundy slowly walked up to him. He looked at the empty carton and then slowly back to Davidson's face. "Davidson," he said in a low, angry voice. "Yes, sir," Davidson answered. "Drop and give me 100, Mundy said quietly but with a tone of anger in his voice. Davidson dropped down and pumped out 100 push-ups. When he was finished, he stood back up at attention. "Davidson, you are on roaming guard until we leave. I better not find you sitting or getting into anything. Am I clear?" Davidson noticed the anger in Mundy's quiet voice. "Yes, sir." He rushed out of the room and went to walk the perimeter. Mundy shook his head and smiled.
Oh, it's not pausing.
"Little bastard thought he could sneak some ice cream behind my back," Mundy said quietly.
There it goes. So that was kind of the fun part there. You know, Mundy found this stash of ice cream, but even though he knows anything about World War II, World War II ice cream was a pretty big deal. Was a very huge deal. In fact, they had an own Navy ship that was directly responsible for making and delivering ice cream during World War II. Soldiers were known to eat it out of their helmets. Ice cream was a huge deal during World War II. So I had to integrate ice cream into this book, and I had to do it in a way that was a typical grunt style. Hey, I found a gold mine here, dude. I found ice cream, and I don't want to share this. And here you go. A typical grunt goes to eating it, and then bam, he gets caught. So that's kind of where we're at on this one. It was fun. But I had to incorporate that in here because of the prevalence of ice cream during World War II.
Then he got into the freezer, pulled out a carton of chocolate ice cream, and walked out so that Davidson could see him. Mundy took a bite every time Davidson could see him. Mundy would close his eyes and tilt his head back, enjoying the sweetness of every bite. Davidson would watch him and lick his lips. Once, when Davidson walked by Mundy, Mundy stuck a spoonful of ice cream out. "Would you like a bite?" Davidson grinned, and before the ice cream was close to his mouth, Mundy jerked it back and ate it with a smile. "That is right. You have already had some when you were supposed to be watching over us." Davidson hung his head low. "You cannot see anything coming with your head down," Mundy explained. Davidson picked his head back up and continued to patrol. After he finished eating it, he walked over to the others. He started to kick their feet, waking them up. They groaned and stretched. "Ingy, there is a chow hall behind me. Get started cooking us something to eat. Baggy, help him."
So another thing, if a grunt can find real food, if he's on deployment and he can find real food to eat, you better believe somebody in that grunt unit is going to be the chef BRD. He's going to be the cook because he knows how to cook. I guarantee you, every grunt unit has a minimum of one grunt that can cook. And that's where we're kind of at on this one here.
Oh, and Davidson eats last. They were confused about why he wanted Davidson to eat last until they walked into the kitchen and found an empty carton of ice cream. They both chuckled and knew what had happened. Running Buffalo, search this area out. Let me know what you find. Mundy looked at Davidson. Ice cream, Sit Republic. All clear, sir. Nothing to report at this time, reported Running Buffalo. Outstanding ice cream. Continue your patrol, Mundy said with a smirk.
I just messed something up there. I put Running Buffalo in instead of Davidson. I got to fix that real quick. That's why I like how this program reads it out to me. Hey, Cynthia, how you doing? Um, Being I have a hard time reading and writing, I like this program because I can catch things like this one here. I had Running Buffalo instead of Davidson. If I can hear it, then I'll be able to catch it. And that's why I do stuff like this. I'm only got a few more sentences, and then chapter 7 will be done. Then we'll hop into chapter 8, Hell on Wheels. But so being's Davidson got caught eating ice cream. You're wondering why he's calling Davidson ice cream. Davidson got caught eating ice cream. So in typical grunt fashion, he's getting in trouble and getting picked on by saying getting called ice cream because, well, he got caught with his hands and literally in the ice cream carton. So that's why that's in there. Oops,
Outstanding ice cream. Continue your patrol, Mundy said with a smirk. Davidson groaned and continued walking the perimeter. An hour later, breakfast was finished. While everyone else ate, Davidson was still on roaming guard. When they finished,
doing today,
Mundy
Cynthia?
looked up. Ice cream, come and get something to eat. Davidson walked over and grabbed a plate. There was a half piece of bacon, one sausage link, and a heel off of a loaf of bread left. Disappointment washed over him. Mundy slapped him on the back. Guess it is a good thing that you ate all that ice cream when you was on guard duty.
That's going to be a typical thing that happens when
Chapter
you get in
8,
trouble
Hell on
in the
Wheels.
infantry.
Give me a lever long enough and a fulcrum on which to place it, and I shall move the world. By Archimedes. When they all finished eating, running.
So, chapter 8 here, Hell on Wheels. This is getting set up for two different things. One, we're getting close to being done with this book. So it's getting set up for the final chapters of the book. Number two, it's also getting you set up of how they're getting to where they need to get to and doing what they need to do. And this is kind of what chapter 8 is. Chapter 8, Hell on Wheels, is trying to get things set up for the remainder of the book and closing out this one.
Buffalo showed Mundy the exit. Mundy looked back and decided that they would take the motorcycles. They each climbed on one, and they headed out of the exit. They emerged from what looked like an abandoned warehouse. They headed over to where they last saw Grimson. Grimson and the others were working on clearing out the air duct when Mundy and his men came riding up. Grimson smiled and shook his head. Glad to see you boys are still alive. Thank you, sir. It was a close one, but we did, said Mundy. I see that you have found some new rides. Grimson nodded at the tanks and motorcycles. Yes, sir, and there are more where these came.
So if you guys are interested, the vehicles I write about in this one are all World War II based per the whoever it is. Like right now, we just got through messing with the Germans, with Prutzman and them. So earlier in chapter 4 or 5, I discussed some vehicles in there. You can actually look it up, and they're actual World War II German vehicles. So it was not uncommon for some of the German officers to have Royal Royces. Motorcycles were a big part of it. Different kind of vehicles. So each one of those, that I talk about in here is actual period-based vehicles for that area or that fighting unit.
Mundy smiled. Grimson pointed to the beach. Offshore was a transport ship anchored. Enough to fill that? Mundy smiled. Picker's choice, sir. They all went to the motor pool and grabbed tanks and motorcycles. They also gathered up all the remaining food. Once everything was loaded, they set sail. Grimson pulled out a map. Prutzman was heading in the...
A little side story on this. Yes, we grunts humped around everywhere. Hump means marched, walked. Yes, we humped around everywhere. But I bet your bottom dollar, if we can sit there and recon, or in other terms, confiscate a vehicle so that we don't have to walk, we're going to do it. And that's what's happened here. They came out and found all these motorcycles and these tanks and these cars, and they're like, no more walking, we're confiscating. That's why I wrote that in here, because that is literally what will happen. Not going to deny, and I'm not going to admit that that may or may not have happened in my time of service. Will not admit to nothing or anything. I will not deny, admit nothing that maybe vehicles accidentally got relocated as we were walking through.
This direction when we saw him on sonar. We're heading back to the mainland. Our scouts say they are heading back to the Francois region. They both steadied the map. Ira walked in. I have informed the Allies that we have confiscated German tanks and motorcycles. I also told them where we were heading. They said that they would inform the commands in that area. Both nodded that they heard her. Mundy pointed to a place on the map. Here, sir, he was pointing to Friedrichsdorf. I am willing to bet that they will be holding up here for a time. If they do, we can hit them there. Grimson thought about it for a moment. It is as good of a place as any to start. We will send scouts out on the bikes.
Never thought about it. I guess I'll start taking pictures of area I talk about.
These things will give us
so if I ever do more lives like this where I'm just working on a book, I can post pictures up of the area or the equipment that I'm talking about.
Kreutzmann had been outsmarting Mundy since they left the wolf's lair. Mundy could not figure out how he was besting him. He could not let that happen anymore. He needed to stop him and his creations. He watched as the shoreline was coming into view. The sun was...
So, it's kind of a little secret here. I like to munch when I eat. And the fact that I haven't eaten today, when I got home from running my errands around, I had some ground chicken. So I cooked that up with some uncured smoked bacon, which is really good. I get it through Moink. It's a company here out of Missouri. And oh man, I cooked that bacon up with that chicken, and I put chopped jalapenos and some relish, and made me basically a jalapeno bacon chicken salad. And I like to eat my salad. I'll eat it on sandwiches, but if I can eat it on a cracker, that's how I like my crab salad, my turkey salad, my ham salad, my chicken salad, egg salad. I like it on crackers. So that's what I've been munching on. I'm hypoglycemic, so I can't let my stuff go too far out of whack. So, being this was actually yes, Cynthia, I've actually had it on a tortilla. I'm not going to lie. It is good. Now I had a few things in with mine. I had a little bit of pepper, onion powder, and garlic powder. I eat a lot of garlic. I live in the woods. Let's see if I can get this camera. I might be able to do this. Kind of give you a shot out my window. I live in the woods. And so the old wise tale of garlic and vampires actually comes from yes, David, tuna salad too. I'll do the same thing with tuna salad. Actually stems from your ticks, your mosquitoes, your leeches, and stuff like that. Anything that feeds off of blood does not like garlic. So therefore, I'm surrounded by woods. So I've got plenty of ticks, plenty of skeeters. So even though this time of year I don't, I eat a lot of garlic. I love garlic. It's good for you. It also is a good preventer. So what I did is I took that bacon, cooked it up, cooked that ground chicken up, and mixed it in with my mayonnaise, my relish, my diced jalapenos with the pepper, the onion powder, and the garlic powder. Oh man, it's good. It's good. Yeah, it's definitely making a fat guy happy. I can tell you that. That hit a fat guy spot right there. But that's what I'm munching on. So on these more relaxed, where it's not more of a formal type of video like this is, it's just me, my natural habitat, editing my books and writing. You may catch me munching on something. I generally eat once or twice a day. Fighting this sinus infection and this lung full of mucus stuff. My appetite's been up a little bit more lately, so I don't want to take a chance of setting off my hypoglycemia or anything like that. That's why I was like, crackers and something easy, crackers and chicken salad. And that's what I've been munching on. So it's just something fun, laid back.
Starting to rise. Trutzman and his men had eluded Mundy. He thought that he would be safe in the underground facility, but he was not. How could this man keep finding me? He wondered. A call came out over the radio. There are Allied troops ahead of us.
Oh, you getting a lot of that,
Looks to be
Ozzy?
about
We
30
have
of
been
them,
here.
the voice said. Mundy halted the troops. He signaled for his werewolves to go and take them out. The men of the werewolf company grinned. They removed their clothes and
See, that's what I miss about Australia, Ozzy. You don't get the weather like we do here. I love spring and I love summer and I love fall because I'll wash my laundry and I'll go out and put it on my little laundry line to let it dry. I love to let my clothes dry out in the sun. And that's what I miss about Australia, dude. You guys have got that all year round. It's all man-made. Oh, the weather. Yeah. Not all of it, but, well, yeah, pretty much nowadays. Yeah. I'll give you that. Which, if you notice, they say that the white hats are fixing that. And a lot of the chemtrails you're seeing nowadays is actually the white hats neutralizing it. And if it's true, I've been seeing the effect. Never out of shorts. Okay. So, side note, the Adventures of E.D. Testman, Marine Corps. So let me set the base of this story. It is 2001. Corporal Eric Testman, United States Marine Corps, 2nd Battalion, 3rd Marines, Gulf Company Weapons Platoon, is in Shellwater Bay Training Area in Australia. So I had fun there. I was in Australia for Operation Tandem Thrust 2001. Got to spend a lot of time in Brisbane, Shellwater Bay. I'm brain farting on another spot. Man, I had a lot of fun. The first time I learned about fish and chips was Australia. For me, fish and chips is fish and tater chips. In Australia, fish and chips is fish and French fries. So I had a lot of fun, man. I went to that 4-story casino in Brisbane, Australia. Walked out with $80. Got my first ever tattoo in Brisbane, Australia. Man, I hit a lot of bars up in Australia. A lot of bars. I drank so much VB, Victoria Bitter. I didn't want to pay for Budweiser because Budweiser over in Australia is like extremely expensive. So I drank the tar out of VB. There you go, Ozzy. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I had a lot of fun, man. I partied a lot at Club New York. The first time I ever learned about getting pissed was in a bar in Brisbane. I can't remember the name of it. But one of the Aussie Army guys came up and was like, "Hey, mate, you want to get pissed?" I was like, "Man, I don't want to get mad. Why do I want to get mad? I want to drink here, pick up women, and have a good time." He's like, "Nah, mate, get pissed. Get pissed." Man, not only did we get in a big-ass brawl, and the bartender's like, "Holy hell, this yank can fight," we got snockered. I mean, we got 3 sheets to the wind ain't got nothing on us and them Aussie cats when we were getting drunk at that bar. Oh, it was a great time. I was walking. Oh man. Oh, Queensland. I wanted to go there. When I was there, Steve Irwin was still alive. I loved Steve Irwin. I liked his message. I mean, did I agree with everything he was about? No. But I liked his message, a message about animals and loving them and respecting them. I loved that. Right. I just loved, yes. Yeah. Now they found out this old hillbilly can drink too, Ozzy. Um, but I didn't get a chance to meet Steve Irwin when I was there because he was back here in America doing a show at a military base back here. So I was like really disappointed. And one of my goals when I was going to come back to Australia, out of all the countries I've ever visited, I've been to Singapore, I've been to Guam, I've been to Ireland, Scotland, uh, mainland Japan, Okinawa, Japan, which if you call them Okinawan Japanese, they get pissed. They are not Japanese, they are Okinawans. I've been to Kyushu, Japan. I've been to Germany. I've been to Iraq. I've been to Qatar. I've been to Kuwait. I've been to Philippines. And I'm sure I'm forgetting some. I've been all over, man. Australia, hands down, one of my top favorite places to ever be. I had a blast in Australia. I watched an Aussie get his ass whooped by a kangaroo, an Aussie tanker. That I fell off my Amtrak, damn near pissed my pants. I was laughing so hard at that. Oh, that was hilarious. And that was there at Shellwater Bay Training Area. Um, let's see here. I'm trying to think. Okay, so when a grunt gets bored, y'all, you got to be a special mindset to be a grunt. I'm just telling you that now. You have to have a special mindset to be a grunt. It's a common theme that if you get a grunt bored, there will be one pile of rocks on one side. Before the end of the day, the pile of rocks will be moved somewhere else. If there's no pile of rocks, one thing that Australia has a crap ton of, besides large ass termite mounds, is ant mounds. A lot of big ant mounds over there. So we used to decide to capture all these little critters, piss off these ants, and throw these critters in one by one to see which one would last the longest. I think it was a tarantula. Yeah, he hightailed it out. He was having no part of that crap. The toad-looking thing, he just stood there and got his butt whooped. The praying mantis, that's a bad dude. That praying mantis not only got bit in half, but was still kicking butt being bit in half. That is just kind of an idea of what a grunt is like. We find ways to entertain ourselves, and we had a insect gladiator arena, pretty much. But I loved Australia. The food was good. The people were awesome. The culture, experiencing yowies, experiencing the paranormal there. Everything was just so much fun. Now, Australia is filled with pretty much everything that wants to try to kill you, including the weather. But it was fun. Oh my God. Guam is awesome, ain't it, Ozzy? Oh, I'm hurt. I'm sorry to hear that. I loved Australia. If you get a chance, Ozzy, get out and travel, hon. Keep that memory going. You got to come. You got to come, Ozzy. You got to come, hon. Come and experience it. Even though you can't do it with John, do it in his memory, if anything else. Get out there and travel. Experience the world. One of the greatest things that happened to me in the military is not only did I get to travel the world and experience different cultures, but I got paid to do it. You know, I'm was planning on making a trip back to Australia with a certain friend of ours, and that's not going to be able to happen now with that certain friend of ours. Toombs. I'm not going to hide it. It was Toombs. Um, so now I've got to come over there and visit some of the rest of you Aussies because I want to do some Yowie stuff, man. I want to do more of that. I want to do more paranormal stuff over there. Y'all, the culture in Australia, if you ever get a chance to go, oh, yeah. Yeah, David. You get a chance, man. I'm telling you, definitely go. Don't get me wrong. Scotland and Ireland were a fucking blast. Oh, pardon my French. I guess I can't say that on YouTube. Were a freaking blast too. Australia is definitely a place you want to go. I am going to eventually make my way. Yes, you can, Ozzy. Yes, you can. Yeah, it is. I was in the Marines when I was there for Operation Tam Thrust 2001. I had so much fun. I love Aussie PT. Aussie PT is you run from bar to bar and you have a drink at each bar. And if you got to puke, you just puke and run. I mean, I loved it. Australia was phenomenal, man. Phenomenal. And I love the Aborigines. And I love the whole culture. Even though Australia was built or was designed as a prisoner drop-off point for the British, the culture and history in Australia, hands down, is phenomenal. David, if you ever get a chance to go, buddy, go to Australia. I'm telling you, I will have money at some point in time, and I'll be doing lives there as I'm doing Yeti investigations and paranormal investigations. I am going to go back to Australia. I'm going to go back to Ireland. I'm going to go back to Scotland, and I want to go back to the motherland, Norway. I can't say go back. I want to go. I've never been to Norway. That's where my family's from. I was born in 79, David. I was born in 79. Yeah, I'm fixing to be 45. I'm at that midway stage. I'm not quite young, not quite old. But I want to go to the motherland. I want to go to Norway to see where my family came from. And I want to do a lot of cryptid, mythological, and folklore investigations along with paranormal over there. But I'm telling you now, David, if you can go, you got to do it. You got to do it, man. You got to go, David. Ozzy's blessed to be able to live over in a country like Australia. Granted, okay, I'll give you your government ain't the greatest in the world right now. But outside of that, there you go. Yeah. That's awesome. But outside of that, maybe was he ever in the army, Ozzy? But outside of that, man, it's beautiful. Just everything. Oh, 78. He's a year older than I am. But it's just a beautiful place to go, man. And by the way, I won't tell Dale that you said 79 and not 78. We'll keep that between us, Ozzy. Hey, you little hellcat, quit knocking my stuff over, man. You're being an ass. No. Well, it's my house, my stuff. You ain't got to knock it down because you want to. You're a pain. Sorry, my cat's being a pain in the butt. But I got to start making trips. I really do. Yeah, they are. I had okay, how do I put it this way? I'm not with a club. I'm with an organization, an order. I had brothers in Australia. Man, yeah, I've heard a lot. When a lot of stuff went down over there, they got off Facebook and everything else. But man, it's It's fun, y'all. It's fun. You gotta go. I mean, don't get me wrong. Japan is another one that has a lot of history and culture. It's very beautiful, very amazing. Although half of the Japanese don't like us, still, when you go into places that say no GI, it still has a lot of culture, a lot of history, and a lot of beauty to it. If you don't want to travel far outside the U.S. and you want to get into a lot of um, mythological, folklore, paranormal, or cryptid stuff, Hawaii. That's awesome, Ozzy. That's awesome. Yeah, that's I turned 45 April 9th. I was born April 9th, 1979. Uh, so in April I turned 45. Um, but I mean, paranormal hands down. Out of all the places I've ever been in, I was stationed when I was in the Marines. I was stationed in Hawaii, Kaneohe Bay, Hawaii, Marine Corps base, Kaneohe Bay, Hawaii. The little island out in Kaneohe Bay. Do y'all remember the TV show Gilligan's Island? Um, Gilligan's Island. Hold on one second. You remember the opening of Gilligan's Island where they shot the opening thing on this little island? That island is in the middle of Kaneohe Bay over in Hawaii, on Oahu. So it was fun. Now, Kaneohe Bay is where the hammerheads give birth. So my late mom, God rest her soul, I had scared her so bad one time when she came out to visit. She literally walked on top, well, ran on top of water, running back to the shore. Um, Sorry, I got a friend that's texting. I'm trying to help her out, so I'm multitasking here. Um, so when mom came to visit one time, I didn't tell her what we was doing. Uh, so I was like, "Hey, come out, grab the snorkeling gear I bought for you, and come out." Um, Sorry, I'm very helpful with friends when they need help, so I'm multitasking here. I was home ported 77 to 88. Yokosuka. Oh, 7th Fleet traveled to the West from there, and then transferred to the Army for 18 years. Yeah, I was Marines first, and then when I got hurt and couldn't stay in the infantry, I went to the Army as a Pogue. Pogue means personnel other than grunt. I was a grunt first, and then I was a Pogue secondly. Um, so I'd done 4.5 years in the Marines, and then the rest of my time, 8.5 years in the Army. When I got hurt, I just couldn't do infantry no more. My body was broken down. I jumped out of CH-53 Sea Stallions when I was in the Marines, and I took a bad fall one time, and then I'd done another bad fall humping down a mountain. Now my daughter's texting. Wow, y'all people must know I'm online or something. Uh, um, so whenever I was in Kaneohe Bay, I would go to Okinawa and deploy out from Okinawa, Camp Hansen, and but Hawaii was my home base, Marine Corps Base, Kaneohe Bay, Hawaii. So I was taking her out here. She's like, "What are we doing? We're getting right to that reef, edge of that reef wall, and down below is all these hammerheads swimming around this island that Gilligan's Island's theme opening was filmed on, with their giving birth to their pups." Oh my God. Mom had cut herself on a piece of coral. and I didn't know it. And I hate to admit it, but I almost drowned laughing so hard because once she found out, she gave this most blood curdling scream I've ever heard in my life and ran back to shore. She's like, "You're taking me out to see hammerhead sharks and I'm bleeding, blah, blah, blah." Like, they can't get to you. We're on top of the reef wall. They're not going to get to you. Oh my God. She gave me a tongue lashing like you would not believe from that. That was, oh my God, it was so hilarious. It was so hilarious. But we used to do Zodiac training out there, and uh, high school drama. Sorry. Man, it was just, oh, such good times. It was just, I mean, we used to do it. So I'd keep my K bar when we flipped our Zodiacs, and all these hammerheads are swimming underneath us. I'd keep my K bar at my side because I figure if one of these hammerheads is going to eat me, I'm going to give him an ulcer, and I'm not going to make it easy for him because I'm going to stab every second I get. I mean, yeah, it was fun times, man. It was fun times. I mean, I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun in the military. I had a lot of bad times, but I had a lot of fun too. I spent 13 years, 4 deployments, and 2 ex-wives later, and I hung my boots up. It just, my body just couldn't take it no more. I mean, all these years of farming, treeing, mechanic, and infantry. I mean, I spent pretty much my whole military career in whirlybird units. I mean, that's all I've done. That's all I knew. I wasn't around fixed wing. I was always around whirlybirds. If I wasn't jumping out of them, then I was loading them up with ammo. But yeah, I mean, I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun, and got to visit so many great places, and that's what makes it fun when I write my books. Because some of these places I write in my books, I write because I know of either A, the culture, or B, I've been there. So Ireland is another place I really want to go back to. I really, really want to go back to Ireland. I really want to go back to Scotland. I didn't get a chance to experience them 2 places as much as I would like to have. But I mean, I'm sure you got a lot of stories, David, of places that you visited while you was in the military. Let's get back
started to
here.
transform. Moments later, an ear-piercing howl broke the night. The werewolves had charged the
Heard of anything about UFOs that they got in Guam years ago? Apparently, it was only a small one on a fishing boat. Dude, that sounds familiar, Ozzy. Let me put that up here. That sounds very familiar. I'm going to try to look that back up, but that sounds very, very familiar. I can't picture it off the top of my head, but that sounds very familiar. And it doesn't surprise me with the stuff that happens and that gets hidden from us. That does not surprise me one bit, Ozzy. That it really doesn't. Okay, I may have. I think I heard something about that a long time ago. Actually, that sounds very, very, very familiar. I'm trying to remember. I don't think there was. I think it was empty, wasn't it? If I remember correctly, was it empty when they got it? Being taken off YouTube doesn't surprise me either. When they try to hide something like that, that does not surprise me one bit on that. That is cool. I would love to hear his story. If you get a chance, Ozzy, and if he's willing, have him email that to this email address right here. Um, I will read it and put it on a short story on my the Bizarre and Unknown channel, the Bizarre and the Unknown channel. If he is willing to email me that story, I'll read it and I'll keep him anonymous if he wants to be anonymous. I would love to hear more about that. That is something that we definitely, if they're taking it off YouTube, more of us need to put it back up to try to get it circulating again. What are you dreaming about, Thor? Thor? What are you dreaming about, bud? You okay? We're okay here. Sorry, he's growling in his sleep. I know. And pyramids are everywhere, Ozzy. Pyramids are all over the world. There is not a place in this world that you can't go that you will not find pyramids. The biggest, the most enormous pyramids you're ever going to find is in Antarctica. Antarctica has the largest pyramids that dwarf the pyramids of Giza. The pyramids of Giza are like a pimple compared to the pyramids in Antarctica. Yeah. I mean, see, a lot of people don't realize, like, we got pyramids here in Missouri. You got pyramids all over this world. And if you actually study the structure of them, no matter where they are in this world, the construction and everything is the same. They really have. Like, there's this place in the Grand Canyon that the military, I'm guessing it's a military like place, military like entities. They keep you from doing it. And there was an Egyptian pharaoh that had escaped Egypt, and the scuttlebutt is they had went to the Grand Canyon. Now, I mean, there's also scuttlebutt that place is also the home of the Ark of the Covenant. Don't get me wrong, but there's been enough proof and evidence out there suggested that Pharaoh who escaped Egypt actually made his way here, and his tomb is in the Grand Canyon. Josh Gates actually did a episode on it, and he got chased out by them entities. But the helicopters are all blacked out. There's no tail numbers. Could be the Men in Black. It really could be. It's hard to say. It just, I know they're a military style unit that keeps you out of there. I understand. Like I said, I will never put a name out there if they don't want a name him. If he's interested to get off his chest, or if you know anybody else that wants to give a story, get it out, I will do a small video on it. If you want your name and your location mentioned, put it in there. If you do not, put it in here, put it in there the same way. Man, I would love to get his stories before it's too late, Ozzy. I really would love to. Man, I wish there's a way we can get him to do it. I don't want his story lost. I want to preserve his story. But I understand. I mean, he's private in the fear. You know, just if you ever reach out to him, let him know that, you know, if he ever wants to get it out, he don't want me to put it out right now. I can save it for another time. If he's living in that kind of fear, but I am more than glad to put that story out there. As far as I'm concerned, yes, he did, Ozzy. He did. I still am having issues dealing with that because he was man, that is just such a bad deal. Such a bad deal. I kind of feel bad because I haven't messaged Ivy. Um, I just don't know if it's a good time to do it or not. Uh, with everything that's going on, um, I probably need to. Yeah, I mean it would. Just if you ever talk to your friend Ozzy, if he wants to email it to me and doesn't want me to put it out right now until you give me the okay to put it out, I can do that. I can print it off, file it away, and I can always read it another time. If he's changed his mind since then and wants me to read it now, be more than glad to do it. And I'll keep his name out of everything. I won't have anything tied to him. Um, I have no issue with that, none. And that's the same with anybody else out there. If you got stories you want me to do a video reading their stories or something about them, email it to this email address down below, and I have no issue doing it. None. I love that. That's a part of this research I love. I love hearing people's stories. And if you don't have the stories of their experiences, that's fine. I appreciate that. I mean, that's the most we can do, Ozzy. That's the most we can do. But if we don't preserve the stories, then this field that we're into in the cryptid, the mythological, the folklore, the supernatural, the paranormal, we lose it. It'll never get out. And I understand that fear. I kept a lot of my stuff hidden from the public for so many years because anytime I brought it up, I got ridiculed. I mean, I understand that feeling very, very well. I had this very same issues when I was younger. I just got that part of my life where I got to the point, but I live by a simple phrase, dillygaff. I cannot repeat it, what dillygaff means on the YouTube, but you can Google it and learn what dillygaff means about or means. And that's where I'm at in this point. I mean, all my supernatural stuff, all my paranormal stuff, all my cryptid experiences, I have no issue talking about. I mean, I've done a interview with Linda Eastburn dealing with that stuff. I'm part of a docu series with her. I can't discuss a lot of my Bigfoot stuff right now because of that docu series that I'm in with her. But once that gets out, Byways of Bigfoot docu series with Linda Eastburn, I will definitely be able to do more stuff on that. And that's kind of why I have not done a live on Bigfoot yet, because I want to be able to wait until I can produce the evidence that I have myself from my times of researching. And they do. Yeah, they do. You're absolutely right, Ozzy. And that's what I designed this channel for. I designed this channel, the bizarre and the unknown, because this is a safe place. Now, I may look at things. See, now there's Native Americans, and when they would discuss something and try to figure something out, they would sit in a circle. They would discuss it in that circle, take a break, come back, and uh, sit in a different location the day prior. Because what I see this way, you see differently coming this way. So, in order to understand what you're talking about, you have to see it from multiple angles. So, I may not agree with something, or I may find it funny or interesting or fake, but that's not. I can't come out and say that's what this is until I can 100% prove that is what it is. So I won't do that unless I know without a shadow of doubt that is fake, and I won't ridicule somebody for it. It's their story, man. Let them get it out. I have no issue. I just my biggest fear. I mean, granted, now the biggest fear on doing that is you're going to get them fakes out there. You're going to want to get them people out there. Once you get that, what's it called, clout? I think it's called clout. I think so. Um, they're going to make up stuff just to do it. I mean, and it's sad. but it's true. That is just how they are. Um, which I mean, I love a good. Huh. Yeah, and see, and Ozzy, the deal with Dogman with me is a fairly new concept that I'm learning about. Because for me, growing up, I always thought werewolf. If it looked like a wolf, it was a werewolf. Until a couple years ago is when I started realizing there's different kinds. There's Dogman and there's werewolf. I never knew there was a separation between the two. That's something I'm very a concept I'm very new to. Is the Dogman side of it. To me, they were werewolves, which makes sense because a Dogman is a natural born wolf hominid, where a werewolf is made. Yeah, I mean, and it's fun. I want to do a Dogman episode, but I want to get somebody more knowledgeable about Dogman than I am, because that is still very, very, very new to me. I know the basics between Dogman and werewolf, but I don't know enough about Dogman. So I will be doing a live show about Dogman, but I got to get with somebody who's more knowledgeable about it. And that's why I was excited when Jesus Payon agreed to come on my live Sunday night. Uh, Not only does he have a lot of knowledge when it comes to giants and a lot of artifacts that are giant based, but he has a lot of knowledge when it comes to Dogman and Bigfoot too. So, I'm doing that show, episode 8 is Sunday night at 8 o'clock Central Standard Time, is going to be about giants. My first one, episode 1, was about stone giants, and that was about all the petrified remains. And I've learned a lot more since then when Ozzy turned me onto mud fossils. And what I love about that Mud Fossils channel is everything that I was my theory on how things were and what I've seen throughout this world. Mud Fossils confirmed it. First, let me put that up there. Uh, Strangely enough, around about the same time, first we seen a UFO. Then a year later, the Dogman. Then I was having my third son and was constantly dreaming about damn lizard men. Lizard men. Oh my God. Yeah, that's wow. Yeah. That's man, lizard man is a that is an interesting deal there. I have not found anything good about lizard man at all. Dragos. Dragos. Where's that sound familiar? Dragos. What's Dragos, Ozzy? That sounds familiar. Where have I heard that term Dragos? Or am I thinking of something else that sounds similar to it? Oh, your Yowies? Okay. Yeah. I mean, and my first experience with Yowie was when I was in Shellwater Bay training area back in 2001. Uh, yeah, I was walking up to this house, and of course, the Aussies Army guys were um, giving me crap about this house, and they said, we're going to tell you now, this house is haunted by a Draco. Okay, yeah, Draco. Okay, so I was actually thinking of something else. Okay, um, but they're telling me this house is haunted by the settlers that was massacred by the Aborigines. Well, when I was walking up to this house, I had this funny smell, and I just had that feeling is you don't want to go in here. and the Yowies were talking, or the Aussies were talking about Yowies. And the more I learned about stuff, I'm like, I wonder if that was actually a Yowie hidden in that house there in Shellwater Bay, and it wasn't paranormal; it was actually a Yowie. That's my Yowie experience. Now, could have been paranormal. It could very well could have been them souls of that massacred family. I don't know. Just a primal fear I had. The smell leads more towards Yowie than it did paranormal, but I could be wrong. I mean, it 100% could have been paranormal. I don't know. That's why I want to get back out there. I want to get back to Australia. I want to get my boots in the field. I love, I love boots in field research. To me, that is by far the best way to do research. Is that most of my life has been spent around paranormal and UFO based. That's most of my experiences until I was around 13 or 14 years old when I had my first Momo experience. And I was up there in St. Joe, Missouri. From then on, I had experiences with cryptids from that point on. But prior to that was supernatural and UFO, or paranormal and UFO, which I guess UFO is basically supernatural. I don't know how people want to classify it, but it was UFO and paranormal. That is interesting, Ozzy. Do you think it might be because they were telepathically telling you something? That is very. I would love to get your full story on that, Ozzy. I really would love to get your full story on that. That is very interesting. How now there is the theory out there that pregnant women are more in tune with the supernatural field and the paranormal field when they're pregnant. Um, there's many stories of women who's never experienced anything or believed anything until they got pregnant and started having uh, experiences. Yeah, it could be Ozzy. Um, hey, David, thank you for coming in, buddy. Good luck on helping your son. Um, I mean, that could be. To me, they're separate. That's just my theory, but I could be wrong. They all could be connected. I don't know. I really can't give a good answer on that. It could be. I mean, and that's kind of what I'm wondering. How you're talking about just that little bit there. I was actually wondering that. That's I mean, that's a very good possibility. I mean, if you want to go on the biblical side of it, we all have a guardian angel. Could it be your guardian angel doing that? Could it be a higher entity that you're more in tune with, and being pregnant makes you more in tune to it, telling you, hey, watch out for this. These are in this area, and this is what they're known to do. That absolutely is a very high possibility, Ozzy. Honestly, and honestly, it's a very high possibility. Yeah, I mean, I can't deny that one bit. There's many there's many accounts of that happening. It's just not you. I mean, there is several accounts of that happening. Um, and once again, pregnant women. I mean, it happens to other people too, but seems to be a high report rate of them being pregnant. And some didn't even know they were pregnant at the time. of getting that kind of warning and end up that warning coming true later on down the road. If they would never got that warning, they would have been caught up in it. So I mean, that is absolutely a possibility, hands down possibility, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Yeah, I can't deny that one bit. That's amazing. I really want to hear the whole story on that. I love this stuff. That's why I do this channel. Um, is because I love that stuff. I really do. And there's so many, and that's the thing. That's the thing. There's so many theories out there, and everything is a theory until it's proven fact. And take it on a scientific field. If you're in the scientific field, you have a hypothesis. Well, you got to turn that hypothesis into a theory. You have 3 neutral and 3 of the same test. So 6 tests altogether. Neutral test is something is not altered in what you're testing for to get a result. And the theory testing part of it is where you take what you're trying to prove and you add 3 different 3 different tests in it. Combine the 2 is how you get your results. So in a theory, the theory is a hypothesis that's getting turned into a fact. So for this field, these fields that we're into, that we study, and that we do these shows on, and that we talk about, we're in the theory stage now. The hypothesis is done out the window. We're in the testing phase, baby. We're in the dang testing phase. And you got to be able to test your theory to be able to get fact from that theory. And it's just, to me personally, is just, I think we're on a countdown of when all our theories are going to be proven fact. I really think we're at that stage. There's just too much out there. Hollywood is putting a lot out there. When Hollywood usually puts a lot of something out, it ends up becoming reality. And there is so much out there. I mean, so much stuff out there. So, yeah, I think we're really close to possibly having our theories proven to be fact here any time now. Look at all the commercials. Look at all the shows. Look at all the social media channels. Everything based on this stuff. They are doing movies, commercials, and social media shows about it. That is very interesting, Ozzy. It all happened in a 2-year period of nothing else after my son's birth. But 2 years ago, just after moving here to live with him, I heard a loud metal door sound and red glowing eyes. Nice. Ooh, that sounds demonic. Red glowing eyes, man, that sounds demonic to me. Um, and it could be like I was talking about earlier, Ozzy. Just you being pregnant could enhance a lot of that. Usually, your dog man sightings, you're getting yellowish or yellowish colored glowing eyes. Red to me, that sounds very demonic. That yeah, I mean, and I know your feelings on that. I mean, take vampires for instance. I believe in vampires. There's U.S. custom papers about vampires coming into the U.S. Through Florida. Um, but I believe there's different types. I don't believe they're all blood sucking. I've had nights, and this could be demonic. This could be, I mean, it could be any type of paranormal, really, or it could be vampiric, supernatural, where I couldn't move at night and I felt something on my chest and hear whisperings and I couldn't talk. So I started praying, saying, not really praying, but commanding it to leave. In my mind, I would start out, this is not your place. You are not welcome here. You need to leave in the name of Holy Christ, or in the name of Jesus Christ. Leave. and then it got to the point where I could slowly start talking, and then I was able to verbally get it out loud, and all of a sudden I could start moving again, and all that pressure would leave. Oh, red sky. Oh, sorry. I thought you said red eyes. I am so sorry about that. I had read that wrong. Dude, you had all that with a red sky. Where's a red sky and that sound familiar? I know I've heard stories about something similar to that. Oh my God. And I apologize for reading that wrong. Um, Man, red skies, something pounding on the door. That is intriguing. Wow. I know I've heard of stories about that before. I got to try to look into that some more. That may still be paranormal, though. I'm thinking that's still paranormal. That still may be demonic too. I mean, really, red is a common thing with demons. That could be. Man, that is interesting, Ozzy. Gosh, dang, I like that. And if you want, man, email me your story on that. I'll love to do a little short video on that. Reading that. Oh my gosh, that is. I understand the fear factor of it. Trust me, but at the same time, on a research level, it's like very fascinating. It's like, oh, I like it. But I can also know what you're feeling in that situation because I've been in situations like that. The paranormal and the supernatural side and the cryptid side, don't get me wrong, is can make you feel a fear like you've never felt before. It is a totally different feeling. You've got fear, then you've got fear. And when you deal with certain types of cryptids, paranormal and supernatural entities, you get that fear instead of the fear. It is totally different. Totally different. Okay, you already told me once you're slowly charging. Sorry, my Fitbit's charging and keeps popping up at me. Slowly charging. Well, yeah, you done said that once, and I said okay. I shouldn't have to hit it every 5 minutes. I mean, like out here, man, I have a lot of paranormal out here. I've got a lot of UFO stuff that happened out here. I've got a lot of cryptid stuff that happened out here. I mean, my only one time I've ever truly had fear out here was that couple weeks ago when I had that thing that was mimicking the dogs. That was, man, I had a lot of fear on that one. I know I'm getting away from the subject of this live when it's called editing my book, but this is very interesting and I don't want to take away from this at all. I really don't want to take away from this story. Um, Man, red skies and something slamming on a metal door. That so sounds paranormal. Yeah. Oh, see, there you go, Ozzy. Yeah. I was attacked by a black entity just after I moved into my late husband's apartment. It left it left big red marks on my chest and private areas. John did not have photos of them. You know, you're not the only one, Ozzy. You're not the only one. I've had red marks on me. A lot of paranormal researchers have had red scratch marks on them. Um, to me, and this is just my opinion, when a paranormal entity is attacking someone like that, how do I put it? To me, it's dynamic, and then I'll explain why. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Ozzy. You're absolutely right, hon. Yeah, I believe so too. Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. See, for me, my experience on a paranormal field, I have seen spirits or ghosts, however you want to put them. They weren't aggressive to a degree of making scratches. Now, I've had stuff moved, I've had stuff thrown, I've had noises, I've had voices, I've had a lot of stuff. But it seems like and I'm going off of feeling too, when I'm experiencing this, my fear, which I was taught it's not my fear that I'm feeling, it's the fear of that entity that I'm feeling because it knows what power we have. And I mean, and that could be the case. I'm not 100% sure on that. But whenever my fear factor is at its height, dealing with a paranormal entity, it's usually been violent, more dynamic type. But I mean, I could be wrong. They could all be the same. That's just been my experience. I'm not an expert by no means. I don't go to school. I don't go. Everything I know has been through self experience, and listening to stories of the ancients. Um, you can find a lot of wisdom in the ancients, in your ancestors' teachings. There is a lot of wisdom there that you can get a lot of knowledge from. And what's sad is this generation nowadays doesn't tap into it like ours used to. I mean, not all of ours ever did, but a majority of ours would tap into the teachings of our ancestors. And this generation doesn't do that. I think that's one of the biggest problems because you got to learn from your ancestors and their teachings. I'm a firm believer in that. Man, it is just cloudy and icky looking out today. I know we got supposed to have rain up until through Sunday. Um, but that is, man, slamming a metal door and red skies. Man, I can almost bet that was demonic, though. I could be wrong. That's right up their alley, though. Really, a lot of that's right up the alley. A lot of encounters and stuff like that. The red skies is not a common one. I've got to look into that some more. Where's my pen? I need to make a note of that. Yeah, my deal's getting in the way. I just got to remember to look at my notes so I can do some research on that. Thank you for sharing that, Ozzy. That's very interesting. That really is. Wow, man, I've had a lot of. I mean, I've seen a lot of stuff, felt a lot of stuff. And it could have been while you was pregnant, Ozzy. Your gift to discernment was more heightened then, and it may not have been actually your gift of discernment that was heightened. It was your son's inside your belly that was more heightened, and that's why you was in tune to it. And I know that's a theory that goes around a lot of time when you're more experienced to what's going on. It's not really yours; it's your child's in your belly's growing experience because they're more acceptable to it than you are because we have been brainwashed so much where they have not. I mean, that's true. I mean, and I can't. I'm not perfect either. I mean, I've done those. I mean, I made a career out of hunting people. You know, I hunt for a living. I pay respect to what it is I hunt, though, because they sacrifice themselves to provide nourishment for my family and I. You know, I always pay respects. You know, yes, did I make a career out of hunting people and got paid to do it? Yeah, yeah, pretty much what you are in the military. But I mean, I know the feeling. I try to treat everybody with respect till they give me a reason not to. If you give me a reason to not respect you or dislike you, ooh, ooh, that sounds very dynamic, Ozzy. It definitely 100% was a loud metal sound, then a huge red glow in the same area. Oh, that sounds dynamic. Oh boy. Oh my. Yeah. And you wasn't pregnant when this happened, right, Ozzy? I believe, if I remember right, you said that happened after, a couple years after. Uh, Let me try to read up on my notes here. Scroll up here. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that happened after. Ooh. I wonder if something wasn't previously attached there and it was upset because you're there. If you not had experience until then, after you married in your or moved into your husband's apartment, and then all of a sudden that happened, man, I'm almost wondering if that wasn't something already there, and it wasn't happy that you was there. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All children are a gift from God. I mean, all children are. If you don't believe in magic, people, look at your child. It takes magic to create a child. It really does. Not only do two people have to have an attraction to come together to create it, but look what all the process that a child has to go through to be brought into this world. If you don't believe in magic, y'all are foolish. Look into your child's face. That child is magic. During the lockdowns, okay. I still, man, I'm almost wondering if it wasn't something there prior. And Buddha, he, like I said, and you was pregnant with him. It could have been his gift of discernment that he was more tapped to, and it could have been there. It could have been there the whole time. It was just upset that you're there now. It broke the norm. It broke the cycle. Something new, possibly dangerous, threatening, had came in. That could be why it did it. That very well could be. That's interesting. Hmm. Man, yeah. But that's what it sounds like. So it sounds like it was there prior. Had he had any reports, anything like that happening prior to you moving in? Or is he not the type that would talk about it? Yeah. I love children. Children are such a miracle, such a blessing. They really are. I mean, children are just such a blessing, such a miracle. Give my dogs a cracker. You know, I'm a firm believer. Not only are children magical, but the face of God is on the face of every child. And I can't disagree with him. I'm just wondering if there wasn't something there prior, because that's what it kind of sounds like. Something there prior. Yeah. Huh. Man, that is that is interesting. And every time you've had experience has been with him. Let me make sure I'm reading that right. Let me scroll up on my notes here, or my notes, my messages here. Uh, Oops. So now that makes me wonder, Ozzy. And he could be that type that don't open up about it. And one day he may just decide to do it. He may decide, okay, yeah, I've had a lot of these experiences in my life. That is, it's not uncommon at all. Um, oops, wrong one. Sorry, I changed my banner there for a second. There we go. I'm wondering, and he may not ever tell you, but that makes me lean even more towards it was there prior. And he just doesn't want to talk about it because it fits the bill. I mean, and I could be wrong, Ozzy. I'll never deny that. I 100% could be wrong about it. But man, that really fits the bill that it was there prior to you moving, and then it got upset, and then it decided I'm going to scare you away. And I'm wondering if that ain't what it was doing, trying to scare you away because you are now entering into what it thinks its domain is, and it doesn't like it. Has anybody else had any experiences like that? I know Ozzy's in here and David had to leave. Melissa or Cynthia, whoever's in here. Um, have any of you guys had experiences like that in your life? Dreams were so weird and wasn't even scared of them, just wondered why I dreamt about them and not knowing about their existence. Yeah, see, and that's why I'm leaning a lot towards I wonder if he wasn't just tapped into Buddha's gift of discernment. Means a lot of it seems to stem around him. That is interesting, and I'm willing to say it was probably a warning. Um, that you are, Ozzy. Yeah, I forgot about that, Sheila. Got to do a walkabout. Uh, gosh, that is cool. I hope your son opens up about this stuff one day. I'd love to hear about it. I guarantee he's got a lot more stories than what you know. Either he's a non-believer, or and he shrugs it off, or he's not wanting to open up about it because he doesn't want to be ridiculed. If I can talk today, we'll be doing all right. It does. You're absolutely right, Ozzy. That's why I created this show. I talk about my stuff too on here because it helps me because for a long time I was like, am I a freak or am I messed up in the head for all my experiences I've ever had? And the fact when I got ridiculed every time I brought it up is the reason why I didn't talk about it for a long time. Now I'm at that dillygaff phase of my life. I really don't give 2 cents what anybody thinks. I know what happened. I was there. Ain't nobody going to tell me something didn't happen, when I myself experienced it. Okay. So was you pregnant with you were pregnant with your other son when that happened? I thought you said you was pregnant. Let me get back up here. And he still could be in touch with that gift, even if he wasn't pregnant with him. Oh, I may have went too far. I thought you said he was pregnant when you first went. Oh, he does. He cool. Cool. So yeah, it could be. It could be your gift. I'm sorry. I was for some reason in my head you was pregnant when you had your first encounter. Um, man, and a thing too, Sue, is you got to think about the more that you're open minded to what's out there and more accepting to it, the more your gift of discernment's going to come to you. So when you become more open to it, the more you're going to see, the more you're going to notice. But that's more on the paranormal side. The cryptid and supernatural side is that's a different beast. The gift of discernment has to deal with paranormal, spirits, demons. The more you're accepting of it, the more that you acknowledge their existence, the more that you believe, the more you're going to see. Yeah, and that's sad, and that's the thing we have to deal with in this world, in uh, um, this field. I don't know how you want to put it. I mean, I've had it done through the military. I've had it done in my civilian life. I've had it done by my own mom. I mean, for the longest time, my own mom didn't believe I saw my dead grandmother's ghost. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's why. Um, until I explained to her, it's like, look, mom, this is what she was wearing, and her eyes enlarged. She goes, that's what mom was buried in. Your grandma was buried in. And from then on, I don't think she ever wanted to admit it because she always talked about how, oh, it was because I saw a scary movie and I was scared and blah, blah, blah. It wasn't until she finally opened up. I was like, look, mom, this is what she was wearing. This is what this lady was wearing that told me that she loved me and that she'd always be here for me. Because, grandma took her life. Grandma was very sick and took her own life. So mom was always under the impression that grandma's in hell and I could never see her. It was just my imagination from a scary movie I saw. And then I explained to her one day, he's like, look, this is what she was wearing. And mom's like, well, that's what she was buried in. And I think then she realized I wasn't full of crap, but she probably wasn't going to full heartedly admit that that's what I saw. I don't know if it's because she didn't want to believe it or she didn't want to she didn't want to admit that maybe she was wrong. I don't know. I know I've dealt with my mother's spirit ever since she died a couple years ago. I've dealt with her spirit from the time that happened still to this day. I thought a lot of the EVPs that I caught on here, I think is my mom. I really think it is her. So her death really, really hit me hard. It was one of the hardest things I ever dealt with in my life. I've dealt with a lot of death in my life. Hers was probably the hardest I've ever been through. I went to a very, very, very dark place when mom died. Very dark place. So, man, that's cool. I like to hear all your guys' stories and experiences. I really would. And I love that stuff. And we can, if I need to start doing, the lives like this where it's just, it's not formal. It's just editing my books or we talk about your experiences. You guys let me know. And if that's something you guys are into, I can do from time to time, I'll just do an informal live where we just sit here and talk about our experiences. I don't have no problem with that. I do these shows for you guys. Um, I love it when you guys are involved on my lives. I love it when you're involved in anything that deals with me, because everything I do, the books I write, the shows I do, all this stuff is not for me. It's for you guys. I'm here for you. And man, if you like this style of life where we're just sitting here like we're sitting at a campfire drinking a cold beer, let me know. I'll do more of them. I can keep up with my former ones on Sunday night. Every now and then when I get a hankering some free time, we may pop on here and do something like this. This one here started out with me just kind of showing you guys what I do when I edit my book, to now we're talking about this stuff, and that's phenomenal. I have no issue with that at all. I love it. This has been a very fun live. I love it when you guys interact with me, because that's what I'm here for. I'm here for you. And we're going to learn something together. You guys are going to teach me stuff, and I'm going to teach you stuff. So it's awesome. It's like our own little university. I started to say University of Giggity because that's my road name, but it's not. It's our university. So let's learn from each other. Let's talk to each other about our stuff. That's what this is about. And the more people to get in on this stuff, and the more people talk about this, and the more people start sending me stories. I've had one person send me a story so far, and that was Rachel's ghost encounter. The more we can get out there, and the more people's going to see that they're not alone, and there's nothing to be afraid about. And the more they can get it off their chest, the more they can get it out there, the more they talk about it, the better they're going to feel. If I can do that for one person, I've done a lot on this show. I really have. And that's what this is about. I mean, this is just a sitting around a campfire goofing off show, but it's been one of the funner ones I've done. I love this style. I really do. Just seen something move outside from the corner of my eye now. I didn't see nothing out there. Back in 1990, I was told I had a brain tumor and had to have surgery, but was told I could have brain damage or not make it. I pray to God to heal me at that time. Interesting. Wow. And is it gone? Did it disappear? It's amazing how many. There is some stories out there very similar to that, of that happening. That's cool. You're absolutely right, and that's awesome. That's a miracle right there, Ozzy. People don't believe in miracles. Right there, that is a miracle. That is 100% a miracle right there. That's why I believe in miracles, because stuff like this right here. Some people cannot tell me miracles don't exist. Right there is right, right there is proof that miracles happen. That is awesome. That is a feel good story right there. I love that. I absolutely love that, Ozzy. I absolutely love that. That is awesome. Congratulations. You had a miracle. Man, that is so cool. I like that a lot. I love hearing stories like that. That is phenomenal. Wow. I like that. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, man. I mean, granted, it's not my first one I've heard, but I get giddy every time I hear something like that. I love that stuff. I'm like I've said before, I'm not a religious man. I'm a spiritual man, but you can't tell me there's a God, because I know for a fact there's a God, and there's proof right there. There's a God. You know, no matter what you call God, God is God. You know, that is awesome. I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy you got to experience a miracle like that. That is awesome. I can just imagine, you got all this sorrow and this pain because of what's going on, and you're second guessing everything in life, and all of a sudden, bam, you get that miracle, and it's like angels singing to you. Oh, yeah. I mean, just that is awesome, man. Thank you for sharing that, Ozzy. I really, really thank you for that. That is cool. I love that. I don't know who else is in here, but if you're in here and you've had experiences of one way or of something else, man, let me know. We'll talk about it on here. Like I said, if this is the kind of lives you like to do, just around the campfire smoking and joking, let me know. I'll do more of them. I have no issue at all. I love hearing stuff like this. If I can do more podcasts where all of us are getting together, just talking about stuff like this, that's awesome. That's awesome. I mean, when I'm doing my formal research ones, I still love to hear your guys' experiences when I'm dealing with that subject. I love it. I just absolutely love it. Yeah. Oh man, that is. I'm so glad you did. Because every new person I meet on this show, I mean, and I met a lot of you guys through William. I met a lot of you guys through DA. It's been a blessing for me. I love meeting new people. I love hearing about their experiences. I love about hearing where they live. I love that stuff, man. I do this show for you, but I ain't gonna lie, I get something out of it too because I make a new friend. I get to hear a new story, a new experience. I get to find new people and learn from them. That's what I love about this because it's not just you guys learning on my shows, it's me learning too, you know? And that's what it's about, man. This is all about us learning. Now, I do this for educational stuff, so I love it when you guys get to teach me new things too. I love hearing you guys' theories. I love hearing your guys' experiences. I love how you guys interact on here. Man, the people who come on here on my shows, y'all are freaking awesome, dude. I mean, I am humbled on the people who come on my show because you all are some top notch people. I love hearing from you guys. I can only imagine, Ozzy. I can only imagine. God, I can only. And I've never had that. My experience was a couple years ago when I wound up in the hospital. I was knocking on death's door. I'm stubborn. I don't go to the hospital. I don't go to the doctor. If I go, it's because it's pretty bad and I'm not been able to take care of myself. I was bad enough to the point that before I was able to get a ride to go to the hospital, and when I got admitted, um, the nurse from my VA clinic was fixing to come up and get me because I wouldn't take an ambulance because I didn't want to pay for it. VA wasn't going to pay for that ambulance ride. I didn't have the money to pay for it. I told her, I said, I'm just going to sit here in bed and see what happens. Um, laying in that hospital bed uh, when I had that pneumonia, I was knocking on death's door, was one of the scariest moments of my life because all I could think about is I'm never going to get to see my kids again. I love my two daughters to death. They are my pride and joy. They are my world. I love my daughters. No matter how much they may hurt me, no matter how much they may do to aggravate me, I love my daughters with all my heart. They're my soul. They're my everything. I love my kids. You know, um, And the fact when I was laying in that hospital bed, not sure if I was going to make it through this or not, really, really, really scared me. So I can only imagine what you was feeling, Ozzy. Man. You are. You are, Ozzy. You know, hold your head up high, girl. You're doing it. You're a freaking rock star, man. You are a rock star, and you bring joy to so many people's lives. We are all blessed by the miracle that happened with you. So keep your head up high. Hey, Melissa. Have you had any experiences, Melissa, you want to talk about? No. And, just like I said earlier, with anybody that comes in my life or interacts, I'm totally blessed. I mean, Ozzy, you've been a blessing to me. David and Melissa's been a blessing to me. DA's been a blessing to me. Um, Cynthia's been a blessing. Everybody. I mean, just I am now at 27 followers on this YouTube channel. It has just been a blessing to have every single one of you guys. I'm not a big fish by no means. I'm slowly growing. But each and every one of you is a blessing to me because I get to learn something new from somebody else and we learn from each other. I love it. Oh, no. See, so right there, two miracles, Ozzy. Two miracles. Two miracles right there. Oh, really, Melissa? Oh, if you're so inclined, please share. I would love to hear about them. That is awesome. I can't share much of my Bigfoot encounters, but I can tell you the 31 years just on this property here that I've had experiences with them. I've had experiences by all different age groups. I can say that much. I believe I will not get in trouble for saying that much. I've had experiences with all different age groups. And a little teaser to get you interested in seeing Byways of Bigfoot by Linda Eastburn, a documentary, a docu-series I'm part of. I have evidence of multiple different sizes. So, teaser alert, little. I'm throwing out that fishing line, trying to hook you into watching that Byways of Bigfoot when it comes out. I think you guys will be impressed with the evidence we gathered just on my place alone, not counting everywhere else. It's yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing what I deal with every day out here. Yeah, I mean it's great. But if you're interested in sharing, Melissa, I would love to hear about it. We can talk about it on. I mean, and what's um, ah, oh, that is awesome, David. I don't know, man. She might beat me up. Oops. Okay, that's right. We'll keep this one up for a second. We were camping in September, and I was awakened by several unknown animals. Out of everyone in the camp, I was the only one to hear. Ooh, I like it. Huh? What it sound like, Melissa? I'm intrigued. I like this stuff. Do you guys like this show, this type of show that I'm doing right now? I mean, granted, yes, it started out me editing a book, but what it led into, is this something you guys like? But I want to hear more on this, Melissa. I really want to hear more on this. I'm intrigued. If you don't mind sharing, if you don't want to share, you don't have to. I'm not going to force anybody, but I like this stuff. And see that. Oh man, I can't talk about that right now. Okay. Go, David. I may do more like this. I may do more. If we can get more people in and sharing their stories too, that'd be great. I love the interaction between me and you all. I love that. That's why I do this stuff. Several whoops at once. And let me pop this up. Because not everybody can read comments on different platforms. Several whoops at once. I actually got a bad headache, nausea, disorientated, and dizzy from a couple of days afterward. Oh, you got hit with infrasound. Interesting. Boy, you got hit by it. Sounds like you got hit with that infrasound. Oh, that is not actually an uncommon experience dealing with cryptids. Yeah, agreed, Ozzy. Very much agreed. Like I said earlier, I've only had one experience that actually scared the tar out of me. Most of mine that I deal with is pretty chill. We're just like a big old community here. And then whoops, man, I want to talk more on my side, but I have to wait on that. We will have a either one of these shows. I may start calling this my campfire show. Huh. That's not a bad name for a show like this, where we just kind of get together and share stories and talk. Campfire show. I have to think about it. I may end up doing something like that. Our Germans, our German, our German Shepherd also reacted to the noise, possibly infrasound. I want to hear those sounds again. I'm obsessed with those. Yes, 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 Melissa, 100%. Yes, I know what you mean. God, I don't know if I can share what I want. I have to wait. I have to wait. I have to wait. I have to be good. I have to be good. Yes, I can say I know what you mean, and I agree 100%. And it could have been, or you could have had a whole family pod there, Melissa. They really could. Could have been a juvenile didn't know how to control himself. Possible. Could have been multiple of them from all different sizes and age. Very possible. Very possible. Oh wow, we've been on this thing for over 2 hours. That's cool. Gosh, it doesn't even feel like this is so fun. Man, that is. Oh man, that is very. I forgot to put that up there. I'm sorry. I got to put that up there. Like I said, not every, people on Facebook that's watching this can't read comments from YouTube. If I remember correctly, I could be wrong. Better safe than sorry. That is so cool though. But yes, 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 yes. I want to hear them too. There you go. Ozzy, my girl. All right. Yeah. Campfire chats with Eric and guest. I am writing that down. I love that idea. Could not wait, David. Couldn't find my phone. Let me pop that up here before I forget it again. Couldn't find my phone to record. I tried to crack open the zipper window, and that made them stop and run away. Oh, gotta pick on David a little. David, what are you doing letting your girl deal with that without you, man? Come on. I have got to write. I love that. I want to get a vote on everybody in here. David and Melissa, how do you like Campfire Chats with Eric and Guest? I love that name. I like that name. And I just got to figure out a good time where I can maximize the productivity of that show. Let's see, Friday nights I'm on with William. Saturday morning, Sunday mornings I'm on with William, and mine's Sunday nights. DA's is on Saturday nights. I don't want to overstep DA. Maybe I can do one Friday nights before I go on with William. Man, David, you gotta let your girl hang like that and not wake up. I can't say crap. I sleep through a damn tornado. I ain't gonna lie. I've done it. What? You need to go outside? Hey guys, I'll be right back. Melissa, you got more to share? Put that up. I'll be right back. Let me let the murder monsters out. All right, let's go potty. Come on, my boys. My big boys. Okay, sorry about that, guys. When they say they got to go potty, I let them out, or I'm gonna have to clean it up later. They ran away just like kids do when they get caught doing something they weren't supposed to. Yeah, man, that is awesome, Melissa. Oh, I wish I could have experienced something like that. I mean, I came close a few times. I can't tell you. I can't tell you if it was human, paranormal, or cryptid, but I know what you're talking about. That is awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I love that stuff. I get you, David. I get you, buddy. Okay, yeah. I can't give you too much of a hard time for that, I guess. I know you're feeling. I know you're feeling. I get you. I meant, though, I literally have slept through a tornado. I slept through earthquakes. Yeah. I trust me. I know. That's still awesome, though. Man. Oh. Yeah, it could have been kids too, Melissa. It really could have been. Because man, from my, I can't really say experience. From what I've read and the stories I've heard, juvenile Bigfoots ain't much different than we are. Ah, yeah, I can't bust him on that one. I mean, I'm just as guilty. I'm just as guilty. I really can't. I actually got in trouble in Marine Corps boot camp and SOI training. So I did boot camp in San Diego, California, and I was asleep, and then I got woken up that morning and got my butt chewed by my DIs. They're like, "Recruit Testerman, where have you been?" "Sir, this recruit's been asleep in his rack, sir." "We had a freaking earthquake last night. You were slept through it in your rack." "Sir, yes, sir." Ah, man, he just chewed my ass up one side, down the other. The second time I slept through an earthquake, I was in Camp Pendleton, California, and I was asleep in a foxhole. We're in SOI, School of Infantry. Um, we were doing our SOI training, and we had to dig foxholes. Well, I was sleeping in my foxhole. Apparently, we had an earthquake that night too. Yeah, I slept right through it. I've had my mom damn near toss me out of my bed before, trying to wake me up. "Oh, we got a tornado." I'm like, I just want to sleep. You get tired, man. You're like, "I don't care. Let it take me back to Kansas. I don't care. Let it take me to the land of Oz. I just don't care. I'll go down to Sandra, who I fought there in California, and fight them dinosaurs. I don't care. I just want to sleep." I've been there, man. I have been there. Oh, that's funny. That's too funny. So, what's your paranormal stuff like, Melissa? Yeah, and that's what I was talking about. too, Ozzy. Oh, I missed one from Melissa. Sorry about that. Yes. I've heard a lot of stories about that. Yes, and I also had ringing of my ears along with headaches, nausea. Dan, yeah, and that's um, you could be Melissa. You could be an empath. Yeah, yeah. Um, with that infrasound, which I know is a fairly new theory in the cryptid field dealing with Bigfoots. They, from what I understand, most, if not every single one that has experienced something like that, had the exact same story of that happening to them. Um, so I mean, yeah, I can actually see that being a very big possibility. Oh yeah. No, man, murder dogs went back in. I'll be right back. You guys got anything else to share? Pop it up, and I'll read it as soon as I get back. Yes, yes, all my boys. Big old lug head, you're knocking stuff over. All right, sorry guys, they're at the door knocking. Will you quit popping up, you freaking hoo-ha screen? Quit. Get down, go away. Why ain't you going away? Irritating me. There we go. Now I can get back into it I want. I don't know about that, but I've seen ghosts all my life, been touched many times, and I've seen things I can't explain. Oh yeah. Yeah, Melissa, me too. If you're up for sharing those too, God, yeah, I love hearing about that stuff. I mean, I've had a lot of that myself, and a lot of throughout my life. I've seen my kids' toys being moved across the floor when they were sleeping. Uh, I've had a ghost named Henry by the granddaughter. He came with a set of bunk beds. Wow, interesting, man. I like that. That is truly interesting. And there's so many reports of ghosts being attached to objects. Like you won't have any experience at all, and then you'll get something, and all of a sudden you start having all this paranormal activity. Man, that is very, 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 very common in the paranormal world. Very common. I won't even touch a Ouija board. Mm-mm. I won't even touch one. I've been around one when it was used, and the crap I seen when that was happening. Nope, nope. This fat guy is not going to ever be touching one of those ever again. Sorry, I can have other paranormal stuff without touching that damn Ouija board. Do you now? That's interesting. Him and the bunk beds are now in our storage building. So do you have activity in your storage building with that being there? That is interesting. Yeah, yeah, no, 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 no. Definitely, hell no, Melissa. No. Mm-mm, mm-mm. Hello, whoever just came in. I didn't see you. Okay, you probably came in when I was letting the dogs back in. But whoever else is here, hello, welcome. We are now officially going to be calling this Campfire Chats with Eric and Guest, where we just talk about our stories. I'm trying to get a good time frame to start doing this. I started out as narrating my book, and we've led into this, and this has been freaking fun ever since. I love this kind of live chats where I get you guys involved with it. I love that stuff. Everything gone away. But do you have any activity in your storage building since moving that bunk bed and Henry in there? Like I remember like some of my stuff, like I'd come home from work and I'd have something here, and then when I come home, it's over here, and there ain't been nobody home. Not sure. We moved them there this past fall and haven't been down there much since winter started. I hate the cold weather. yeah, yeah, cold in winter. I mean, I'm wondering. I always know when something's been moved. Always know. Like I can walk in as soon as I walk in the door, be like, something's different. I've always been that way, and like one time down in my old place, I had what is that thing? It was supposed to be a ball that looked like it hovered around your hand. I never could figure it out. Hell, I'm too hillbilly to figure that damn thing out. But it was fun to play with. But I had that sitting on my desk, and I went to work. And this was back when I was still an 18-wheeler mechanic. The cold sucks, man. Don't get me wrong, but it's part of life, man. It's a part of life. But whenever I came home, back when I was still an 18-wheeler mechanic, that ball had moved from my desk onto my bed, and there was nobody home. This is back when my kids didn't live with me. They lived with their mom. There was nobody home. It was just me. Yes, Melissa, me too. I can't deny. I love that too. I love love thrifting and thrift stores, and sometimes I have touched something and gotten bad vibes, or just walked by it and feel kind of nauseated. I don't touch dolls either. Oh, yes. Oh, 100%. With the gift of discernment, when you're in tune to it, which I'm in tune to mine, all you do is got to walk in an area and automatically you can feel the presence there. And I don't know. I mean, I'm not talking about just thrift stores. I've walked into several places going, yep, there is definitely something here. And I've met women that were fascinated in the paranormal field. I was like, well, you got this lady here that follows you everywhere. And I described the lady to them, or the guy. And they're like, how did you know that? When you're in tune with your gift of discernment, you see that stuff. Yeah, I mean, I love thrift stores. I love going thrifting. Thrift stores are awesome. You can find some awesome stuff. A lot of times you can find awesome stuff at a great price. I love going to thrift stores. I have not been in a while. I've not had the money to go in a while, sadly. One of these days, I'll be rich and famous and go again, or get everything fixed up. Yeah, Melissa, and I'm the same way. There's a lot of time. I mean, even clothes. I mean, there's a lot of times you can go to a thrift store. They're name brand clothes, brand new with the price tag still on them, and you can get them. I'm not ashamed to say I do that. I'm a cheap ass, man. I want to know where every single penny of my money went to. I'm that way. And if why pay $50 when I get the exact same thing for $10? I want my money to last. I work too hard for my money. I do. But thrift stores is a place, and garage sales. You can pick up a lot of paranormal activity at them places because the entities are attached to that stuff. There is countless reports of that happening. Countless reports. I mean, and that's not even talking about my experiences. That's you can find that on the interweb. I mean, countless reports of that stuff happening. My experiences too. I mean, I've went to garage sales, I've went to thrift stores, and you can just walk in going, there is something here. And generally, you can kind of feel what it's attached to or general area that it's attached to. And if it feels like it's um, bad or harmful, I'll stay away from that. My money don't need to be spent on something in that area because I want to take a chance of accidentally picking it up, bringing it home with me. But yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. I love that stuff. I got a lot of stuff from thrift stores. I really have garage sales. I love it. I haven't been garage selling so long. I live out in the boonies though. I do. I live way out here in the boonies. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, Ozzy. That's maybe that's I grew up poor. Okay, I grew up really, really, really poor. This property here that I live on, that I bought off the family, um, we didn't have running water or a toilet the first couple of years we lived here. We literally built an outhouse, used an outhouse, had a 500-gallon cow water that we had back in an international pickup. That the first year we spent going down to the local creek, or if it was low, we drove further to the local river, which is the Niangua River, bucketed water into this thing with 5-gallon buckets till it was full. And we had to boil the water before we used it. After about a year, we found out we can go to the city tower, which is 12 miles from us, the city is, or the town, and get water from the water tower. But the day we found that out, I was a happy guy. I was so happy. No joke, the last house we lived in at before we bought our house, it was haunted. I stopped making fried chicken there because every time I made it, something would be behind me, and uh, it felt as if they oh, it felt as they were looking over my shoulder, resting their hands on my shoulders, creeped me out. I use cast iron. Oh God, yes, I use cast iron too. I love cast iron. Yep, I've done that too. We had rabbits too. But oh man, that is wow. That's an experience, Melissa. Oh my gosh, it's almost like they're standing over your shoulder, going, "Now you got to do this right. You're messing this up." I grew up a poor country girl and helped my pop selling rabbits and fox skins to survive. Yeah, we sold rabbits for meat, harvested them for meat. But oh man, you know what? I can't fault you for not cooking it anymore, Melissa. I really can't. I mean, I get it. You get an experience like that. I get it. I mean, and I love cast iron. I cook with cast iron a lot too. I love cast iron. One of my favorite times, the things about winters, when I've got the wood stove fired up, I break out the Dutch oven, I put it on top of the wood stove, and I make my chili in it. I love wood stove chili in a Dutch oven. Oh man, yeah. Oh, the first couple times I thought it was David, then I realized it wasn't. Oh man. Oh yeah, yeah. I've heard people calling my names here, and there'd be nobody here. Oh man, I can only imagine what that would be like. And getting kind of happy. It's like, my hubby's here, and he's wanting to say hello and thank you for chicken, and all of a sudden ain't nobody there. Yeah, yeah. Trust me. I get what you're saying, and I cannot default you for not doing that no more. I can't. Now, you guys also got to remember if you're having paranormal activity that's really bad. I mean, it's this way for any paranormal activity, but how I handle mine, if it's becoming violent or it's negative, I evict them. You have the power to evict a spirit from your home. That is your home, not theirs. You have the power. And I've told that to that one down there is messing with that little ball I was telling you about earlier. I told him, I said, you can stop messing with my stuff, you can stop messing with my kids, and you can stop messing with me. If you can't, I'll evict you. We can live here in peace and harmony and be just fine, or I can evict you. You have that power. That is a God given power that you have. But I mean, I can see why you wouldn't want to fry chicken there no more. Man, I don't know how I'd feel about something like that. I mean, I've had experiences where I thought somebody was laying next to me and they weren't there, but to be frying chicken and mistaking it for your husband, that's a totally different oh crap moment. Wow. Thank you for sharing that, Melissa. Thank you. Kind of interested what David's experienced. Come on, David. You experienced anything? You being a little internet whore. Yeah. You gotta sit in my lap here, buddy. I don't want to hold you up. I'm a big boy. I got plenty of lap for you to sit in. I ain't gotta hold you up. Turkey butt. Huh? You turkey butt. What? Oh, yes, I know, buddies. I know. You're just so neglected, ain't you? Our kids had a pet guinea pig, and we kept them in the kitchen. They're in the same house. One night we came home from the county fair, and when we walked into the kitchen, the pigs were scared to death. Oh, no way. Oh, animals are so sensitive to that stuff. That's pretty much reconfirming what you felt right there. Oh, no. All our kitchen cabinet doors were open and all the dishes were on the floor. Man, that sounds like a poltergeist experience, which poltergeist is the German word for angry ghost. Um, that sounds like a poltergeist experience. Did that happen after you decided to quit cooking chicken? I'm curious. I'm curious why the activity like that ramped up. That's a brown pants moment. That's no poo poo moment. Is that poo? Is that really poo? I mean, that's kind of what I'd be in a situation like it. I'd definitely be evicting. You're not getting none of my chicken salad. You had some of my chicken nuggets and some of my fries earlier, and you had your food. You're not getting my chicken salad. Plus, I gave you a cracker. Your favorite thing, a cracker. But I'm oh, yes, an old man did die in the home before us. It was after the fried chicken. See, okay, yeah, I can see that. His favorite food could have been fried chicken. So his spirit, his energy, however you want to put it, would get excited when he's cooking fried chicken because that was his favorite meal, and gave him a memory of when he was living, and then when he cut it off, pissed him off. I can see that being a possibility. I can see that being a very huge possibility. That is intriguing. That is, man, I was wondering that too. Wow. That is, I'm glad you shared that, Melissa. That is awesome. I mean, it's scary. Don't get me wrong. I understand it was scary for you, but wow. Yeah, Ozzy. Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. I mean, and I mean, don't get me wrong, folks. I could be wrong, but that's what it sounds like to me. That he wasn't really malicious until you stopped cooking it and it pissed him off, and you had a poltergeist experience. You know, and he could have very well been like, "Woman, why ain't you frying me some fried chicken? I love some fried chicken. You don't want to fry me some chicken? I'm scared of your guinea pigs or moving your dishes. I want you to possible. That is very possible. Yeah, I can't dispute that. Uh, oh, I missed that one. I'm sorry. Let me get that. I missed that. We were always having stuff moved from where we put it, such as keys. We would find them in the bathtub, etc. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's like I was talking about earlier. Yeah, I had the same stuff. And I mean, and he could have been, I don't know if he was married or had anybody living with him or he lived alone before he died. He could have been wanting some kind of attention and he was just lonely. So he was doing stuff to get your attention and let him know he was there. And oh yeah, I mean, and I can't fault you for that, Melissa. I can't probably, but I didn't feel safe after I realized it wasn't David or my kids. Yeah, no, I mean, I cannot look down on you for that at all. That is completely understandable. And I don't know how knowledgeable you was in the paranormal field when this happened, but if you're not knowledgeable when something like this is happening to you, it's a very scary moment. Even when you're knowledgeable, something like that is a scary, scary moment for you. It really can be. I mean, I'm knowledgeable with this paranormal stuff, and there's still times I'll get where I'm like, oh crap, dude, what the hell? This ain't good. This is not going to be fun. You know, I get woken up in my sleep often with a feeling of fear, and I gotta start. I gotta start laying down the law. If I don't lay down the law of the home, I evict you. So I mean, I can't fault you one bit for being scared in a situation like that. No, no. You know, I agree with the 100% with that, with you on that, Melissa. I really do. We're going to have to leave here in a little bit. I got to take meds to Yessie. Yeah. You want to go for a ride again in a little bit? You want to go for another ride in a little bit? This little dude here, my rat dog, which is my late mom's dog, Snow, he loves going for rides. Anytime he can be dead asleep, and he sleeps in either in my bed under the covers, or I've got a little bed here that's got a cover built on it. He can be dead asleep snoring. As soon as he hears that first key, tap the other, he's up and in there ready to go for a ride. He loves going for his rides. Now he's usually laying his head up my arm, staring at me while I'm driving, or he's sitting next to me, staring up at me while I'm driving. But he likes to go for rides. Hello, whoever just came in. Glad you came in on the show. We have decided we're going to start calling this one, and we're going to do it more often. Campfire Chats with Eric and Guest. So I started to come in talking about my book, was editing my book, and we led to this, and we kind of realized this is something kind of fun. If you got a story that you want to share on here, put it in the chat box, and we'll talk about it, man. I'm not going to look down on you for any story you have. But it's good to see you come in. Man, thank you for sharing, Melissa. That was awesome. That's I'm sorry that happened to you. I am. I know that's probably can bring up some buried emotions, and I apologize, but it's good to talk about it. It really is. You know, and that experience is both scary and cool at the same time because you have an experience to tell somebody, but at the moment, that's pretty scary. That's pretty. Oh yeah, and I love it. I love it, man. You got anything? I don't care when we're doing a live like this. You know, I'll start. I'm going to have to narrow down time, figure out what time's best for everybody. But man, you got stories. You want to put them out there? Let's talk about it on this. This is fun. I love that though. But yeah, no, I appreciate every story that you and Ozzy's given me. I love that stuff. I really do. I find it fascinating. And that's why I tell everybody to email me on that one site because I want to hear people's stories and I'll do short stories on them. And That's why I do this, you know. I mean, if you ever got stories you want me to do a short story on my YouTube channel, right there, man. For anybody that watches this later on, email me at this email address right here, which I just realized I got to fix that. There's a space in between and mythological. There's not supposed to be a space, but email them to me, man. I will do a short story on them. You want to be anonymous? I keep you anonymous. You want your name put down? I'll put your name down. I mean, I respect everybody's decision. I can't dispute that one bit. I can't dispute that one bit. Um, yes, Ozzy. That's why I said, man, this is probably one of the funnest lives I ever done. Even though it started out as something else, this is by far one of the funnest lives I've ever done. And I'm like, you guys, let's do more of it. Let's get more people in. This has been great. I mean, we've been on here for almost 3 hours talking about stuff. That's awesome. That is freaking awesome to do something like that. I mean, I am going to have to get off here soon because I got to take some meds to my daughter. She's at her mom's this weekend. And I really didn't think we was going to be on here this long. This is what's so cool. And I got to get with William, make sure we're doing the show later on. So I got to get that stuff down to her before the show happens. But I think I'll probably go ahead and cut this off now. Everybody, thank you for coming on. You got any questions about my books, let me know. Message me. Yeah, David. You too, buddy. You good night, buddy. Thank you for coming in. We'll definitely do more. I'll try to get something out there to figure out what time works for everybody where we get more people in. But I think I like what Ozzy says, campfire chats with Eric and guest, because this is fun. And I'm glad you guys got in. I'm glad you guys had fun too, because this is what it's all about. It's all about you guys. I know the feeling. I usually have to get up at 0500. I work 410s. So Monday through Thursday, unless it's a weather event, I'm up at 0500. Usually going to sleep anywhere from 2000 to 2200 a night, sometimes 23, sometimes 100. So I know it. I know the feeling, buddy. But thank you for coming on. It's been a pleasure and a blast. And thank you for your interaction. Anytime, Ozzy. Anytime, man. It's thank you for sharing. Thank you and Melissa both for sharing your experiences with me and with us. It's been a hoot. I'll get something made up for the new chat thing, but yeah, we'll do it more. So you guys, God bless you. Thank you for being here, and peace and love to you guys all. And good night.